Welcome everybody to another episode of Consciousness Over Coffee with Mr. John Hodge right here. We have the lovely Shradha. What is your last name, Shradha?
Aiyer.
Aiyer. Awesome. And then Ahbi, what is your last
Muppiri.
name? Muppiri. Awesome. I'm Tyler Drake. First and last, now we got it all. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is going to be a free-form discussion. And so who has the first question that we'd like to begin with?
Shradha goes first.
So I know at lunch we were talking about lifetimes, and now we wanted to talk about soul design a little bit and how your soul age relates to the lifetimes you've had, and is there a tipping point, and that you have to have lived so many lifetimes before you start awakening to the world. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
There's, we come in as a baby soul, so you have to really relate this to the cycles of a human being is really the way it's set up. So, you first come in, and the way to think about this is you have people on these small islands out in the Pacific that really have not ever experienced anything much. A lot of new souls come in where it's very basic, where you're very much just being in nature and learning about nature and how to interact with the world. And then you go into another cycle. When you pass that, there's 7 levels in each cycle that you go through. And you can go through all 7 of them in one lifetime, or you can take as many lifetimes as you need to say go through a level, through all 7 levels in a level. So you have your baby souls, you have your youth souls. Youth souls are, you even have an infant. So about that, you have infant souls who just really don't, they come in, it's their first go around, they're not used to anything. And this is about the earth reality. Okay, when we talk about souls, the soul design system is set up in parts where we look at the energies of who you are from when you were fractalized from source. But it also has an earth realm section in it, and that's where we talk about these number of lifetimes. So we have infant, baby, we have youth. So youth souls are kind of the cycle that we've been in here lately. There's been more youth souls on the planet than any other type. And we're now moving to where we're rolling into a mature soul level. And all of these levels take as many lifetimes as it takes. But generally what I see when I'm looking at lifetimes is I see at first it takes a lot of lifetimes. I mean, it's just, birth and death, birth and death, birth and death. Just one transition after another. And as you move through all of these different levels of lifetimes, it takes fewer because the soul's gaining experience. So the further we go, the more experience we get. It takes less in a level. So when we come to a mature soul, which most people that are in our group, mature souls have had a lot of lifetimes, a lot of experience, and are at a level that their beginning can awaken more easily than other souls because of the experience factor. So most of the souls that we see awakening right now are Starseed mature souls. They have the background, and there are Earth souls here. There's more Earth souls than there are Starseeds here. There's about 30-something percent. 30% percent of the world. I haven't looked at it in a while, but 30% would be Starseeds.
Can you elaborate a little more on Earth souls and Starseed?
Okay, a Starseed is someone who started experiencing material reality in another reality system besides the Earth reality. Now, I don't call planets. I call them reality systems, areas that we go into and we participate in for experience within the whole. So most of people who have responded to the call. There was a call put out to rebalance the Earth system, this solar system, this part of the galaxy. And with this call, the Starseeds started coming here. And this has been happening for a long time. I mean, most of the Starseeds some of the Starseeds started coming in at Atlantis, at the fall of Atlantis, or right before. I came in right before the fall. But, and there's Starseeds coming in right now that don't really fit in to the curve of being an infant soul. They're not an infant soul because in terms of all the lifetimes they've had and their mastery in other systems. These are masters that have come here. You guys are masters that have come here. You've already had experience in other systems, so you're here showing the way, or we should be demonstrating the way, all of us demonstrating the way of how we should be to have a unified, balanced system in balance and harmony. So we're all here giving our expertise, and unbeknownst to some of us, of who we are and why we're here. But many of the Starseeds are waking up right now. Y'all know that? I mean, there's a huge awakening on the planet.
Yeah.
And so there's a difference. A Starseed could come in this lifetime, one that's very advanced in mastery. And the thing that happens to Starseeds that just come in is they feel disconnected, very disjointed, because the energy patterns here are so different than where they were before. So some Starseeds are really, can struggle at first when they first start to awaken because the energies are so different and challenging for them here. Those of us who have been here, like myself, I've been here a lot of lifetimes. We've already mastered this patterning. We understand it, but now we're waking up and remembering who we are. And most of these people are mature souls right now that are waking up in this. And then there's a few old souls. So it's like a bell curve. If y'all have ever learned the bell curve in school. So at the top of the curve has been the youth souls. And now that's shifting. It's rolling along. And now there's more of the mature souls coming in. That's the shift happening. More mature souls are going to be in the center of the curve pretty soon. And the old souls are down here in the in the knee. So you have the infants over here. You have the old souls over here.
And the matures are...
Yeah, the youth
And the matures.
Well,
and the mature.
Yeah, so a couple of questions there. So if the infant souls or the younger souls are on the shorter side of the bell curve, in the future, don't you think it is very likely possible that when they graduate to being a more mature kind of souls, the number will be very highly shifted and there's not going to be equilibrium?
If you look at any statistical system like that, the distributions are going to change over time. But some of that is controlled by the system itself.
Gotcha. So some might take, what you're essentially saying is, some might take more lifetimes to graduate and some might take less times to graduate. Okay. Makes sense.
I think the illusion is, as the population increases, statistically, there are shifts in the curve, but the number of people coming in is adjusted, the average value of it is adjusted as the population increases.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Statistically. So,
Understood.
So how did you end up here then in this Earth reality? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
from what I remember is I was in a group that answered the call to come here from, the situation was seen by higher density beings, if we want to call it that. The situation was shown to us that there was a potential for the failure of the ascension at the Atlantean peak. They saw that there was going to be the factions setting up against each other and other problems that were going to arise through future potentials. So our group was sent to try to adjust the energies and the frequencies and try to help stay on task. And it didn't work. So with it not working, we were actually trapped in the system in the incarnation cycle. And Starseeds that come here know that that's a potential, that can happen here. But we stayed in the system, and all of us, Starseeds, have been here a while. You know, we've been way showers, lifetime after lifetime. We've been the ones that are you know, more spiritually oriented, holding the light during this lower energy pattern, if you want to call it that. We kept it from going completely amok, running amok. So that, and many groups like that, you're a Pleiadian. So you're a Pleiadian that was doing this and has stayed in the system. Some Starseeds just come in just to help. And there's lots of Starseeds coming in right now to shift that number of people and that energy that is required to move this on into the positive timeline.
Gotcha.
And that's what's happening.
So is it safe to say that different starseeds come with different purpose and energy, and that's the energy that then they spread to this reality that we're in?
Yes, very much.
So I know you and Tyler are Arcturians. What is the energy that y'all are bringing to this planet?
Well, we have to remember that when we're fractalized as a soul, you're giving, labeling, language-wise, we've broken that down into 8 aspects. And my aspects are love and order. So through those aspects and through the mastery that I have in the Arcturian system, I'm delivering that energy of love and order through energy work, because that's my mastery, is through energy work.
I see. What's Tyler? What are yours?
He is a communications and wisdom soul. So he's able to he's a catalyst that communicates and knows the wisdom. Actually, he knows when he hears and he gives, because he interacts. He has that burning energy that he does. He is a catalyst, but it comes out. But one thing that you will notice is the energy that comes out that catalyzes. He sees it, and if it's not in line with the true wisdom, he immediately corrects it.
Yep.
I've had a lot of people who have been upset about that in my life.
Which is actually a good thing, right?
That's
The shifting is very important, isn't it?
Well, first off, I appreciate that. Thank you for the question. And I resonate deeply. I've always been a why person, right? Asking why constantly. And, even like my affirmation app, I read the affirmation, I'm like, this is in future tense. We need to reframe this into present tense, right? It's intuitive to me. It's not like, I don't see it as something separate from, it's just like, oh, no, that makes more sense, right?
Yeah, and for you, it's just a natural. I mean, it's your energy. It's who you are. It is who he is, and it's how he delivers his energy to the world in the way he is. And like I said, mine is love and order. And through my ascension, I'm moving into a higher loving order, which is unconditional love, which is actually the truth of order in the universe. And we have not been in that truth here. Hence why we're all, why we're all here.
So expanding on that, so what would be an ideal case scenario, let's say, for the world to gradually gravitate towards in the coming years or lifetimes?
The thing that, if you look at the systems the way they are now, we've been in a Pisces energy. Now, Pisces energy is domination, control, lying. all these things are a part of this control system. We've been using control to dominate. There's people using that control to dominate the system, and it's a somewhat of a separated energy, and is promoted as a separation by the Pisces energy. And we're entering into a Aquarian age, where the Aquarian age is the knowledge bringer. Now, the underlying thing in all of this is the energies associated with Pisces energy are leaving. So the energy that has supported that energy is no longer present here. It's going away, and these Aquarian energies are coming up. And along with all of this, the frequency of the planet is rising because of the location we're at in space and
Time.
other things that are occurring. The Starseeds here, doing our thing, or raising the vibration of the planet. And the planet wants to raise the vibration of the planet.
Okay.
The planet wants to move ahead, and that's the big key. Humans may think they can do whatever they want to, but I have news for them. If the Earth wants to move to a higher frequency, the Earth's going to move to a higher frequency.
Okay. And then how do the realized beings like Babaji or Jesus or Krishna, how do they fit into raising the planet's consciousness?
When we look at the way everything is set up, there's always a part of us that is another level of us at a more expanded awareness, at a higher state of being. These beings came in, and they were able to be in touch with their divine energies in a way that they were able to expand themselves far beyond what the collective is doing at any one time. To do this creates a space for everyone else in the system that is not at their vibration to have a link to latch on to help pull them up like they are. And also when they come in, we'll use Jesus as an example. He came in and elevated his energies, and he was basically being the great spirit on earth, and so was Babaji or any of the masters. So he's here being that energy, and he's showing us how we should be in order to generate this type of being. So they are at a point that since this is a free will planet, this is getting a little deep, but since
Free will planet.
since
So
this is it's a free will universe, really, a free will galaxy or whatever. So we have the right to choose how we want to align our energies. They give us the option to see the unconditional love and the truth of the all, the Great Spirit, as you want to call it, the source of our being. They show us the example of how that is to be one with that source, and give us the tools. When we reach up to them, they'll reach down to you. It's energetically. That's what I'm talking about. If you call to them, they'll reach down to you and they'll interact with you. They are you. And this is another confusing thing, but these entities are us. We're all one in the Great Spirit. We all have individuality. They have individuality. It's through their individuality that they communicate to us in our individuality as we play these roles that we're playing right now in these lifetimes. So when I talk to that part of me that I call Babaji, I'm talking to a part of myself that is in higher consciousness, that is a higher element, consciousness element of me, that is communicating and working with me in co-creation. So that's the way all of these entities are.
Wow. I have so many questions, but one that comes up is, coming back to Starseeds, and with all this knowledge you're sharing with us, of course, some of these beings might be Starseeds, some of them might have been Earth. How do I use this information about my divine qualities, and once I get my soul design, how do I use that in this reality that I'm in today?
Many people that I talk to are confused. They know that they're a starseed. They know that they have a purpose, but they don't have a clue as to where to go or what to do with it.
And it's understandable, right?
Yeah, it's understandable. Because all of this we've been suppressed in a way that we've built a box around ourselves, that the box is what keeps us from the truth. It's us. We keep the truth from ourselves because of our supposed ideal that this is the way something is supposed to be. So all I've done is throw, my box is gone. I jumped out of the box and ran, and I'm open. So other people were saying that they were communicating with these beings. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to try that, just to try and see. And I'm also, as we've discussed before, I'm very focused and very committed. So I did it over and over and over and over and over. And eventually I started getting communication and started getting information, and had the feeling, and started having experiences with it. Now, I've always been where it has to really happen for me. I'm not just gonna, I read a lot and I see a lot of different stuff, but I have to have an experience with it, and it has to be something that is solid in my life, that is a positive for me, and being good for me and for others. It's always been a thing that I've said to the universe. You show me something, you got to be, it's got to be the real deal. So I've done these things in a way where I communicate, and I get information. It's always for my highest good, and it's always in a way that it promotes well-being in myself and others. They don't ever tell me anything. That's another thing. People think you can call up your guide or one of these beings and ask them anything that you want to know, and no.
So I can't win a lottery next week.
Right, they're not gonna.
Oh, Shradha, you can win the lottery.
No, but not through my soul guides.
You cannot rig the system.
Right.
Yeah. So there is a system. They're not going to tell you anything that's not for your highest good or the highest good of the all.
Also, that they cannot tell you, or they will not tell you anything that's going to compromise your own soul contracts, I believe.
That's correct.
Right? They will only tell you what's best for you at that particular instance, for your growth at that particular point of time in your life.
Right, and I would ask for things, and I would either get that, that no, we're not going to tell you that right now.
You're not ready for it or something.
or they would just ignore me.
Yeah.
So I've gotten to the point, if I ask a question like that and I don't get any response, I'm like, oh, okay.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, challenge accepted. then
I'll see you in the next session.
then the next deal is like, they would give me something, and I'm like, what's this for? And they're like, you'll figure it out. And they would keep telling me they'd keep telling me that same thing over and over. And I'll tell you the one thing that sticks to me.
Yes.
The first thing I remember on this is them telling me, you are not your body. Now, this was a long time ago. So me being told that I am not my body, I'm like, what?
Right.
I think I'm my body, but they kept saying that. And after a period of time, I kept getting different pieces of information on this through different sources. And then I began to understand that my body is a creation of this planet. And I'm an infinite soul that is symbiotic with this body.
Yes.
Now that will fly in the face of a lot of
Well, in the
a lot of
symbiotic
folks.
part, sometimes it's symbiotic,
Well,
and other times, I'm my
Yeah.
own worst enemy, right?
right.
It's part of being human.
Right.
So a big step for me was understanding that, though, was figuring out that here I am, and I'm trying to figure out why I have so much pain and have so much suffering with the thoughts, and why am I getting such a struggle when I try to make a decision that I don't want to be a certain way anymore,
Right.
or I don't want to eat this, or I want to eat this and I'm not supposed to. It's because when I'm going through these things, I am me and the body is the body. And if the body is used to getting what the body gets, it wants what it's been getting, it wants what it thinks is safe, which is what it's been doing all along, whether it's been good for it or not, because it doesn't have that level. That's why we're the infinite source creator soul, is we have that. So I began to understand that my body was just telling me what it wants. It was just giving me the information it had learned. Let's say I had something happen to me in my childhood that happened over and over and over. Well, that was programmed into my body.
Yep.
So for me, understanding that I'm not the body, so I've got to love my body into submitting to my will.
And
Yeah,
by
but
your
that's-
will, you're meaning your spirit, right?
My spirit, that the body doesn't understand when you first make this jump to go to the next level. It still wants to do what it did,
Yeah.
right? It still wants to be
It's
like
habitual.
it was being, and all of a sudden the soul comes along and says, "We're not going to be this way anymore. You can't have that Coors, or you can't have the Budweiser tonight." Well, the body's like, what does it do? It immediately sends out the signals. Says, this is what I want.
Yes.
This is what I want.
Yeah, absolutely. So for somebody who's watching this podcast and trying to make sense of all of this, and also something that they can take away from, what would you recommend as a practice, or maybe something that they can do to kind of find that distinction between their body and their soul, or even to recognize
That
their
they're
soul,
not the body.
that they're not the body? Yes.
One of the best techniques that I've used is to sit with myself and go into a state where I'm watching.
Like an observer.
I'm the observer. Okay, if I'm the observer and there's something happening that I see or I hear or I feel, and I'm observing it, it's not me. See what I'm saying? I'm the infinite soul observing and watching the thoughts.